Good evening, and welcome to tonight's all-school instrumental concert. For those that I haven't had the opportunity to meet yet, I'm Travis Fleshner, I'm the superintendent. I have the privilege to be around these students and these instructors every day, and we'd like to welcome you all tonight. This is a really special concert in the fact that we get to see where they start at their time here at AP and continue on to where they finish with some of our seniors in our band tonight. If you don't mind, I'm just going to take one little moment to talk to the fifth grade for a second. Fifth grade, you are just getting started on this journey. So whatever instrument that you hold now, whatever part you play in this band, these are skills. They're going to take time to develop. They're going to take some work and probably a little bit of patience. Okay? Trust your directors, trust your teachers with this, stick with this. Fun things happen along the way. Now, I can't see everybody very well. Here we go. Where are my fifth grade parents? Okay, I was talking to you too. All right? Having an instrumentalist, I guess, in our family, our youngest son, he started out with percussion. I was thinking, well, this is great because I just have to buy like drumsticks, right? And then we ended up with a trap set. I'm not that sure if that's what you call it. That's what I'm going to call it. In our basement. And then shortly thereafter, we're like tacking quilts and all kinds of things to the walls, trying to muffle this so it doesn't shake things off the walls. And then we continue through this journey, and we had an air conditioning unit go out at the school. Now I have a marimba in my living room, trying to save it from humidity. But I don't know that I would have traded any of those things for that opportunity. And now being a little bit farther on and being an empty nester, you start to miss some of those sounds. So I encourage all of you to embrace the journey. Again, where are my fifth grade parents at? All right, awesome. Upperclassmen parents. Let's give a nice hand for the fifth grade parents, right? They're just getting started with this. But we do ask you, sit back and enjoy the show. Mr. Winky, Mr. Idler, Mr. Mahler, wherever they might be. Under their direction, lots and lots of positive things happening. And with that, Mr. Mahler.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to our band concert tonight. So appreciate you being here, watching online, whichever. We have a great program in store for you tonight. I'm Mr. Winky, and I direct the 5th grade band. And these kids have just done a super job so far this year. We have been only playing as a full group like this for a couple months, and so this is our very first public performance. So they're very excited, a little bit nervous, and they're going to do a great job. We have 3 tunes for you tonight. The first is called Warp Speed. I chose this one. It's a new one for us. I chose this one because it's a great learning piece for this age level, teaching them some basic rhythms, some basic notes. It pretty much covers the notes we've had so far. Rhythms are half notes, quarter notes for the most part, and some tricky counting, rest to count and that type of thing. So, yeah, they've done a great job with it. The nice thing about this one is the horns all play together at the same time. So yeah, it's not too advanced as far as the rhythms yet. And percussion has their own thing going on back there, so that kind of keeps us moving. But the horns all have kind of this, all play the same thing at the same time. So again, thanks for being here. This is such a cool concert, like Mr. Fleshner said, because you're going to hear the first one all the way up to the high school polished seniors. So yes, thank you. Here we go. This is called Warp Speed. Yes, thank you. That's a great piece for the first one, because you could tell how all the rhythms were the same time they played for the most part. So a great learning piece. Now we're going to go get a little more advanced. This one's called Latin Magic, and the notes are about the same. Not too many more new notes in this one, but the rhythms get a little bit trickier. They have to count a little bit more. They do not all play at the same time all the time, so that took a little bit of coordination, that type of thing. But yeah, they did it, and they put it together pretty well. We also added some percussion instruments back there to give it a Latin feel, because this comes from Mexican folk melodies and that type of thing. So it's a great piece as well. I think they really enjoyed it. Hope you will too. It's called Latin Magic. Yeah, so I hope you could see it a little bit more complex in that one. Yeah, I hope, I mentioned that we've been playing for a couple months together as a band. We started in October, and with small groups of like instruments, teaching them the basics, how to play, all the first initial learning stuff, that type of thing. And then we put them together in January, so here they are. A couple months from now, we have another concert. We'll do a concert for the upper elementary at the middle school in Applington. And they will make amazing progress even between now and then. We'll play more complex stuff and more advanced rhythms, and a lot of learning will take place just the next 2 months. So it's just incredible once they reach this stage how much faster they start going, that type of thing. So yeah. Okay, before we do our final number here, I do want to acknowledge a couple kids here, three kids. And I actually sent some names in for an honor band, which is kind of unheard of, first year, fifth graders, but I did. And we have a honor band happening in Mason City, end of April, and they include fifth graders. They have a fifth grade band, they have a sixth grade band, so we sent some names in. I had to send the names in already back in January. I wish I could have done it right now, because I took a few of the kids in January that were really doing well, and now I could add probably 6 to 8 names to that list and send that many more in to try and get into an honor band. But we have these all the time. We try and do 2 honor bands a year at this age level, middle school, and high school has a ton of honor bands to choose from, different colleges, that type of thing. So anyway, for 5th grade honor band here, on flute, I have Alice DeWolf. She'd like to stand up. Yeah. On trumpet, we had Maddie Adrian back there. She's heading there. So yay, Maddie. And then we had kind of a guy that is in reserve. He's kind of an alternate, and that is Paxton Brooks on clarinet. Awesome clarinet player. And he will be, he's kind of an alternate there, and for that honor band, they have tons of kids that try to get into these bands. So all 3 of them have done super, super well as the entire group is just doing amazingly well. I offer extra lessons, and above and beyond their group lessons, and we do it during recess time, and I can hardly keep up with them. Kids are signing up for extra lessons to that degree, and so I just come in during the recess time and give them extra lessons, one-on-one and private lessons, and that's how they really start to excel, is by taking those extra lessons. So good job, you 3. Good job, all of you. All right, thank you. Now, our last piece is the same piece I play every year for like 49 years now in a row, and it's called Hard Rock Blues. And the reason we do this is, well, number one, they really love playing it. It's fun to play, kind of a rock sound, but it teaches eighth notes. This is the first tune that we played together as a group that actually has some eighth notes in it. What we played so far didn't have eighth notes in it other than the percussion back there. So now the horns will have some eighth notes. It's short, it's just fun to play. It teaches them the concept of eighth notes, and now we'll start playing more advanced music off of this going ahead in the next 2 months. So yeah, it works really well. So every band kid in here has played this when they're at 5th grade level. So here we go again, Hard Rock Blues. take us just a couple minutes between bands to flip around, that type of thing. Fifth graders are going to be headed over there. Sixth graders will be coming up. And they have to kind of reorganize the stage a little bit. So just bear with us, always between the bands for a couple minutes. Thank you.
Okay, That was, it's always fun to start off with a fanfare, right? So that was Ascension. Our second piece is going to be kind of a tribute to what happens in the spring. We start to get a whole bunch of bugs and stuff like that, and I know it's not fun, but this is a tribute to the bugs. And don't worry, we're gonna kill some bugs today. And the trumpets are going to be demonstrating the mosquito so you guys just pay attention to the trumpets and see what they're gonna do. It's gonna be a surprise, so you'll see what the trumpets are about to do in this song. So, yes, this is called Creepy Crawlies. We're going to get started with our last piece in just a moment, but before I do that, I wanted to recognize some of the students that received the highly superior when they were doing the solo contest last month. A lot of them did really, really well. They all did really well, really well. Most of them got superior, but then there was also a little bit higher rating that they could have gotten from their judge, who gave them highly superior. So I'm just going to say their names, and then they can stand up to be recognized and get all embarrassed. Kari, Cora, Ari, Abby, Regan, Juan, and Bryson. Yes. And Juan and Bryson, I don't know if you noticed, but we're kind of low on low brass at the moment. We lost a tuba and a euphonium to sickness today. So we have, if you noticed, we have Mr. Mahler filling in. He's not a sixth grader with a beard, don't worry. And then there's three other people I want to recognize, and those are the people who made the honor band that Mr. Winky was talking about, but this is for the second year honor band. And so that would be Adeline, Cora, and Bryson again. So honor bands are a really cool opportunity to play in a really, really big group full of the top students from all over the place, and with a good guest conductor as well. So there's always opportunities for those. I want to say great job to the 5th graders one more time. Give them a round of applause. It's fun. I remember when I did my first concert, I was so nervous. I was shaking, but it ended up being okay. I didn't play everything perfect, but that's not the point. The point is just getting better and having fun along the way. So for our last piece, it's called Dark Beginnings, and I did this specifically because I wanted to showcase some of the songs that you typically hear in beginning band. So you're gonna hear Hot Cross Buns, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, Ba Ba Black Sheep, some of those things, but with a twist. Okay, so it's gonna be kind of minor, and I think you're gonna really enjoy it. So you hear Hot Cross Buns and all that kind of stuff, and then I don't know what this is, but this is gonna be fun.
All right, welcome to the 7th and 8th grade portion of the concert. We just had to dust off the instruments, make sure they're working, but I thought I would take a moment, double check the programs, and then we decided to flip the order last minute, so we're actually going to start the 7th and 8th grade portion with March Regal. I would also like to take a moment and acknowledge the highly superiors that these students earned in 7th and 8th grade band. So when I say your name, please rise. So we have Claire, Violet, Sydney, Sarah, Sarah again on a different instrument, Lila, Dayton, Riley, Matthew, Lydia, Elise, Elise on a second instrument, and then Ryder Junker. They performed here at home on February 22nd, and all of them did a great job, but these ones were recognized as highly superior. So give them a round of applause. Next piece we're going to be performing is a Latin tune called Schoolroom Latin. last piece is a piece I've honestly always wanted to do here, and I decided, why not now? So we're going to close the 7th and 8th grade portion with the finale theme from the 1812 Overture. After this, there will be a equipment set up, and as has been said by the other directors, the longer you play, the more you are able to do, the more you get to experience, and you will be able to very easily see that when you watch the number of percussion equipment start to shift through after this. So this is the last portion of the 7th and 8th grade band, 1812 Overture. So as I mentioned, we have one final equipment set up, so bear with us just a moment as we get ready for the high school. Believe me, you're not going to want to miss some of these ones in here. I wish my classrooms were this quiet. Feel free to talk. This is the worst part about this concert is all the equipment set up, but there's what you see and what you will hear pretty soon. Waiting for a thumbs up from our percussion, but this is the high school portion. We have 4 pieces prepared for you tonight. You already heard Tunes of Glory. I think a lot of you probably recognize that piece. We're doing another march from around the world. This is March of the Belgian Paratroopers coming up. I'm watching the percussion. Up next, after March of the Belgian Paratroopers, I don't try to do the actual language, will be a piece that will be a little different, but hopefully you like it. But it looks like we're set in the back. I got a nod, so here we go. This is the high school portion, March of the Belgian Paratroopers. I'm not going to give you too much warning about this one. I heard it and I was like, I'm buying this, we're going to do this. So this is called Imminent Danger. This is the first time AP has done a piece like this. I think we'll do more. Let me know what you think after the concert. This is Imminent Danger. Hopefully you guys agree with me on that. This next one we're going to play is from across the pond. This is a Spanish traditional piece called España Caní, and it features our trumpet section, and all of them really. Thank you very much. Before we perform our final number, which a couple of you may have heard of, I'd like to take a moment to let you all know, if you haven't checked your email, an email was sent to grades 6 through 12 band and choir parents. We are hosting our a section of the state's solo ensemble contest next Saturday, April 5th. We need a lot of parent and student volunteers. It's not hard work. We just need some bodies who are able to either man a stopwatch or check names off a door. But we need a lot of parent support and student support to help make these events happen, to be able to host things in our wonderful facilities. So please check that email. There's a link at the bottom to sign up. So I hope to see a full sheet tomorrow, maybe tomorrow night by the latest. So make sure to check that email. This last piece we're playing is a medley from a franchise called Star Wars. I don't know if any of you have heard of it. We start with the opening credits, Parade of the Ewok. My personal favorite, you'll know which one that is. We have Augie's Municipal Band from episode 1. Then we have the throne room and end with the end credit scene. So this is the conclusion of our all-school band concert. Thank you for coming out. Fifth graders, I look forward to having you in my classroom in a year and a half. You guys, I'll see you next year. So thank you for coming out. This is the Marches from Star Wars. Thank you very much for coming out and supporting all of these fine musicians tonight. I look forward to having all of them in a couple years here. Thank you for coming out. Don't forget to check your email and have a safe drive home.